I'd like you now to close your eyes and realize that you are just about to take a step that leads towards a deeper understanding of your journey. This journey, which you started a longer time ago than memory can stretch, beyond the bounds of recollection, but certified by you being this, here, now. Your presence here, sufficient proof alone of your desire to take that next step. Your journey through these chapters now approaches one more bridge, a bridge to cross that leaves behind the world of isolation, to merge again with that which brings completion, your greater self, and reunion with the whole. This journey to continue, enter now the world of dreams, in which all must be revealed in allegory and in fact. The wheels of understanding turn from light to dark and back again until you find your origin, the source of life and light itself, the birth of all creation, evolves and grows and understands itself. This final transformation begins in darkness, illuminated by a spark of bright imagination. So, kindly imagine, if you will, that you have been working in a faraway town where you have accomplished very many important things that really did need to be completed, necessary things that truly had to be done. And now, having successfully completed what you were tasked to do, you, of course, feel relieved, pleased, satisfied, and content. Content with a day's work. Well done. That's right. And now it's time for you to come home, returning to the place you left. And so you stand now on a train, a sleeper train, which will travel through the night, transporting you safely back again whilst you are sleeping. So now, unlocking your sleeping compartment door, you are immediately pleased to see that you have more space than you anticipated. Just the right size. Seems made for you, in fact. Entering inside and turning now to close and lock the door behind you, putting your bags down on the floor, you sit upon the bed that waits there to support you. So comfortable, soft, yet sufficiently firm, and in savoring this oh so pleasurable feeling, you begin to detect the beginnings of a yawn coming on, a yawn followed by another as you lie down gratefully on this bed. The cushioning pillow, the smell of fresh, clean linen in your nose, that unmistakable feeling of the train beginning to move, the familiar, reassuring experience of being on this, your final journey home. The work in which you've recently been engaged fades from your memory as your breathing automatically becomes deeper now, gentler, slower, allowing you to notice with pleasure that the rhythm of your breathing is syncing with the rhythm of the train, traveling along these tracks, steadily, assuredly, safely, knowing where you're going, home, at last, to rest. And so, gently entering now this deeply deserved period of calm, this delightfully relaxing sensation of ever-deepening peace, which comes from knowing that there is nothing further to be done, and therefore nothing to even have to ponder. And, as you would imagine, as anyone might expect, this feeling of relief and this feeling of release from having to pay any further attention at all, even to your own thoughts, means, of course, that all that inner chatter of no relevance now quietens, becoming distant, thoughts now mere unintelligible whispers in the background, ever more indistinct until they disappear and are gone, and in their place the rhythm of your breathing, now the center of your focus, allowing you easy passageway across the threshold from waking consciousness gently downwards into the realm of dream time, as you have done so many times before, gracefully, gladly leaving the world of wakefulness and letting slip all remaining awareness of the outside world, transported effortlessly into that flowing state where dreams are made, forming this new reality. Colors shimmer and sparkle, new worlds, new experiences. You gladly go inside and through. That's right. This incredibly soft pillow on which your head reclines becomes a cloud made of softness itself, and even though you know your eyes are closed, you see the crescent moon, and so you know that you are dreaming now of drifting upon a cloud of softness beneath the twinkling starry skies, enveloped by this soft and velvet darkness. You fall into a sleep within a sleep, a dream within a dream, floating still across the sky upon this cloud of softness. See now the train below, in which you sleep so peacefully. Your deeper mind takes care of all and everything, as your daily concerns forgotten. Make way for this, the losing of your own self. Within you find a glowing passageway which leads you through dimensions rare, and fascinating pictures fill your mind with places, flavors, sounds and textures, the stuff of dreams, a stream of multicolored days and nights of changing focus, creating and transforming all. Once more again to find a slowly forming world of opportunity around you now, appearing a dreamscape from your mind, where you find yourself now standing in line in a queue of people inside a building that you've never been in before, as far as you can recall. But what you can't quite recall is exactly why you're standing here in line, waiting in this queue. For what? You know the feeling that I mean, the kind of feeling when you enter a room to do something or to get something, and you've completely forgotten what it was that you were going to do or that you were going to get. That sort of feeling. And what you usually do when this happens is you go back to the place you were immediately before, in the hope and expectation that whatever it was that you've forgotten pops back into your mind again. But seeing the number of people in line in the queue in front of you, you decide to wait, to be patient, hoping that by the time everyone else in front of you has been served and you have reached the front of the queue, everything will come back to you and all shall be revealed. So you do wait, you stay in line, you remain in this queue, and as so often happens in situations such as this, where you have no option other than to wait until it's your turn. Your mind begins to wander. You begin to review your life as a whole. You begin to review your life and your experience as a human being from childhood right up until the present day. Your hopes, your dreams, the highs, the lows, the disappointments, the struggles, and the achievements, the ins, the outs, the ups, the downs, and as you review your entire life, you can begin to see it now from a wider perspective. You begin to see your life as a journey in personal development, and in doing just this, you begin to feel about the way your character, your personality, who you are to your own self, truly has changed, has clearly and substantially developed as you have traveled through these different stages of your life. How you've successfully traversed each bridge, from infant to young child, from young child to teenage years, from your teenage years to young adulthood, and from young adulthood right up to now, this present moment. And no matter your opinion in the past, you see now that actually you've overcome many, many challenges and difficulties. You faced and conquered problems the like of which, at the time they were initially encountered, seemed insurmountable. But you didn't give up. You carried on. You managed. And so you can easily see, it's undeniable that you've crossed each bridge as you've come to it. And yet, there yet remains a feeling still that completeness is not yet yours. A feeling of something being missing, something still to come. There's some flavor, perhaps, some quality, an elusive dimension to your life that you'd still like to reach and to experience. And as this notion grows and begins to take full form, steadily becoming the center of your focus, you begin to suspect that another of those bridges is about to appear in your life, another bridge to be crossed. The feeling that the next natural step in the unfolding and the development of your experience here on earth is very close to hand. A tiny little feeling on the insides of your insides, deep in the very heart of you, is beginning to stir, to respond to the light, calling you, a desire, a need for further awakening, introducing an indication that inner wheels are turning, a shift, an alteration in attitude, the gaining of a deeper and a wider perspective, and a change in your feelings about everything, to the extent that you feel here is a moment where a fundamental change in your character is on the verge of forming your new reality. And in this present moment, as these feelings flow through you, you begin to notice something. You begin to see that there's something really rather odd about this line of people in this queue in which you presently stand. Your full focus returns now to the queue of people in which you are waiting, and you see it straight away. You notice, to your utter amazement, your complete astonishment, that everyone in front of you, each person who is standing in line in this queue, happens to be wearing exactly the same clothes as you are wearing. And more than this, all the people standing in line in front of you are exactly the same height and exactly the same build as you. You are deeply intrigued, as you naturally would be, by this seemingly incredible series of coincidences. And you wonder how this could possibly be. And then it dawns on you as the only explanation that could make any sense at all. Every single person standing in front of you is a different version of you. And as you stand and take in this queue of yous, this line of people, each and every one of whom is a version of your own self, you begin to suspect that there actually is something different about them all. They're not quite so identical after all. You focus now on the version of you that is standing immediately in front of you, and you get the distinct feeling that this version is quite clearly, quite obviously, a little more composed, a little more confident, resolute, patient, calm, capable, and truly alive, vibrant, energized, focused, and present. In fact, to put it in a nutshell, the version of you that stands immediately in front of you right now is closer to the person that you have always felt you would like to have become by this stage in your life. How peculiar, how fascinating. Experimenting you put your hand on the shoulder of the version of you immediately in front of you, and your hand tingles as it passes inside the body. It feels more alive. It feels more focused, more composed. And you want this. Yet your interest is sparked, and your attention now moves from the version of you immediately in front of you to the next version of you in this line of views. And you get the clear sense that this further version of you is even more composed, is even less anxious than the version of you that is standing immediately in front of you. So, you look up the entire length of the queue as it gradually becomes apparent that each version of you standing in line in front of you in this queue, each version becomes progressively closer to the ideal you the nearer they are to reaching the counter and receiving the attention of the person behind the glass who is going to help, assist, and transform your life with you today. So, it's clear and unambiguous. There are lots of versions of you that are closer to the ideal you than the you that you currently experience yourself to be. You know they exist. You are now completely certain about that. You can see them in front of you now. And an idea comes to you, fully formed, that if you can simply take a step forward and pass right into the version of you that is standing immediately in front of you, the version of you that you know to be closer to the ideal version of you, if you could step right into them, then you would become that more ideal version of you. And since there's nothing to stop you, no reason not to do this, you do it now. Take a step forward and feel now a glorious tingle run all the way through your being, down and through to your very core as you step right into this more ideal version of you. And it feels absolutely wonderful, does it not? And some of this lovely feeling is due to the noticeable fact that something is now missing. A certain underlying level of stress, a vibration of self-doubt that you've carried for so long you've considered it to be normal. This has gone. Feel that new feeling of deep peace inside of you. You feel fuller, deeper, calmer, so much more able and resolute. How wonderful is that? And so, you wonder now, you ask yourself if there's a version of you standing behind you now that is the version of you that you were experiencing just a moment ago, before you stepped into and have now become this more ideal version of you. Turn around to look, but you find there's nobody there to be seen. And you can take this as an indication, an assurance that you have progressed, that you have taken a step forward. So simple, so satisfying. So stand now and just appreciating these good feelings. Getting to know these are your new feelings. Beginning to feel comfortable and at home with these good feelings. Exploring them deeply now. Accepting them as truly right, truly yours. You take a deep breath and now profoundly experience the difference in who you are now compared with who you were just a few moments ago, before stepping into the shoes of this more ideal version of yourself. Turn around again to look and check and see whether or not the previous version of you might still exist. But there's no one to be seen, and you can be satisfied, be fully reassured that this movement forward, this improvement in all things you, only goes one way. And so you decide to go further along this way. Of course you do. Getting yourself ready now to take a further step, to step into the next more ideal version of you, who stands in front of you now. And so you do this now. You take that step forward and feel one more time that glorious tingle running through your entire being, and again a wave of relief as another layer of unnoticed stress leaves you forever, feeling even calmer now, more focused, more centered, more able and alert than you did just a second before. You look behind you to check if there remains the less ideal version of you that you were just a moment ago. But of course, there's nobody there. The only way is forward. The only way is progress. The only way is you. So, you ready yourself again? You imagine now in depth and in detail just what it's going to be like when you step right into the next, even more ideal version of yourself that is standing right in front of you now, waiting in this line of people. Finding out, you take that step forward now into this even more ideal version of you, and immediately the feeling is, of course, truly wonderful. The more you progress, the better this gets. And you notice something else now. Each time you step forward and become the next more ideal version in front of you, your mind as a whole becomes quieter, more open, whilst your senses and your awareness of the world around you becomes sharper. The natural result of an increasingly untroubled whilst simultaneously alert mind. And you wonder now, you ask yourself, if you could just walk right up to the counter, walk right through this line of ever more ideal versions of your own self without stopping, taking on the ever more ideal qualities of each version of you as you do this. You take a look up the queue to see the person who is currently first in line, just to get a feeling of how composed, how quietly confident, how resolute, capable, focused, truly alive, vibrant, energized, yet patient, calm, and fully present that version of you is, that version of you that you are preparing yourself now to become. Yes, you want to be like this. So, you take a breath, and now take that step forward and feel that otherworldly tingle as you pass into this next more ideal version in front of you. Take on these more ideal qualities as your own, and not stopping, you carry on forward. You become each more ideal version that you step into, feeling better and better and better as you get closer to the front of the queue with each step that you take. Nearly at the counter, the tingle continues now, this feeling of ever increasing inner unity is truly, truly wonderful. You step now into the final version of you in the line, and you feel the fullest feeling of completeness you ever felt. Take a moment to truly, deeply feel this. Get to know this fully. Quietly confident, resolute, capable, focused, truly alive, vibrant, energized, yet patient, calm, and fully alert. And now, remembering where you are, you look through the glass and you see that the person on the other side of the glass is also you. And this version of you is smiling. This version of you seems somewhat otherworldly, deeply connected to the entire universe. This version of you says, "Hello, I'm here to help you, always. I am your other mind, your deeper mind, your greater mind, and when we merge as one, we will be your fullest potential we can reach at this, our current level of experience. And none of this now, strangely, feels strange. All of this now feels right. It makes perfect sense to you. This, you feel, is what has always been missing. Yet the counter and the glass, which currently separate you, seem very real indeed. It's clear to you that you cannot simply step through these to merge with your deeper mind, your greater mind, and reach your full potential. Not yet, says your other mind. This is just the beginning. Walking through this queue was merely preparation for the next step. And that step involves the final letting go. Letting go of what, you wonder? But you see that your other mind, your deeper mind, your greater mind, is now pointing to a door to the side of the counter. So you go to it, you open it, and you walk through it, only to see your other mind opening a further door just a little way ahead. Your other mind goes through the door, turning to beckon you to follow. The door leads outside, and through the doorway you can see that it is dark outside, the moonlight illuminating a silver path that leads to a stone bridge across a river. You walk through this doorway and become aware that the time is just before dawn, as, beyond the bridge, you see the soft, almost indistinct glow of orange light on the far horizon, signifying the approach of a new day. A feeling of expectation, anticipation, so close to hand. The bridge that you saw through the doorway is just a little distance in front of you, and waiting for you now, on the middle of the bridge, is your other mind, your deeper mind, your greater mind. You proceed, walking now along the silver path towards the bridge, underneath which a dark, slow-moving, and immensely deep river runs. A growing realization that this is that bridge. You move forward, and you put one foot onto the bridge, but find you cannot move any further forward. There's some sort of invisible barrier stopping you in your attempt to reach your other mind, who stands waiting for you in the center of the bridge. you wonder why you cannot make any more progress. Your deeper mind supplies the answer. You still carry the weights of past upsets, previous hurts, psychological pain, added to little by little over the years. These are the shackles, the chains and the fetters which weigh you down, which hold you back, which limit your development. They exist because you carry them still as unaddressed grudges, little pockets of burning anger, lingering traces of bitterness from long forgotten clashes, constricting your movements, clouding and blurring your vision, and necessarily serving to inhibit your ability to see and understand things as clearly as you can, as clearly as you could. And many of these old hurts and upsets are buried so deeply you have downplayed or even forgotten their existence, and in all cases, your reasons for carrying them still have been forgotten too. But when you look, then you will see that these reasons are no longer valid, no longer convincing, of no more worth than the faded receipts for long forgotten purchases. And the evidence that you still carry these useless, awkward, painful burdens is the very existence of this bridge and of the river that runs underneath, that has the power to dissolve and carry them away forever. This is the moment to set yourself free. You have carried all of this for long enough, unable to finally deal with these things of the past because your mind has been split, fragmenting your attention into endless hopes and fears, generating unfitting and misleading desires, all of which inevitably lead to dead ends, diluting your understanding and weakening your potential. You have retreated into a mere idea, a picture, a concept of an isolated individual, and so, in cutting yourself off from the world, by seeing yourself as a separate, distinct entity, apart from the world, your experience could, therefore, be only partial and limited. You cannot become whole again and reach your full potential whilst you continue to hold on to these dark feelings. Releasing these is the crossing of this bridge. In releasing these, you will be able to cross the bridge, become whole again, and reconnect with the world. And in this way, you will become one with the world again. You could not do this before today, but now that you have become the most ideal version of you that you could possibly be at this present stage in your life. You are focused, composed, resolute with a peaceful heart, and, I believe, fully ready to do this with me and become renewed. Search and find them. As soon as you have found them, you will be able to walk onto the middle of the bridge and thus be able to unburden yourself. Search within. You will feel it as a true desire for welcome change, to give up the shackles that bind you to your past and become renewed, reawakened, unified as you once were. Look within, feel within, search for and find these old hurts, these grudges, these upsets. The deeper and the wider you look, the more you will find. Surprised, perhaps, at their number. Relieved at how small and insignificant some of them are, amongst others, deeply held, and more significant than you believed. Yet the more you explore, the more you will find, and the easier it is for you now to understand how to move forward, inching your way towards the center of the bridge, where your calm and loving, deeper mind encourages your arrival. Your deeper mind now informs you that you have a minute, a full 60 seconds of clock time, which, in this timeless place, will stretch to the ideal time necessary for you to search for and find these old hurts and fears, these long-held grudges, and all and any remaining smouldering fires of inner anger that have been keeping you from breaking through. That minute, that 60 seconds of clock time starts now. And now, you find yourself standing in the middle of the bridge, looking over one side, down into the slow-moving river below, ready now for the final step. Your greater mind encourages you to prepare yourself to abandon these heavy feelings, to reach down into your own stomach, the depths of your very being, and consciously, in full awareness of this process, with purpose and unwavering determination to stand ready to pull every single last one of these out and cast them into the river below. Another 60 seconds of clock time will pass. This minute of ordinary time stretching experientially for as long as you need as you begin to reach inside, take hold of and take ownership of these old hurts, these old fears, upsets and grudges, and cast every last one of them into the moving waters below. This minute, this 60 seconds of clock time starts now. Too long-held grudges necessarily dissolve now. The remaining smouldering fires of anger and disquiet quenched and permanently extinguished, naturally giving way to a feeling of unlimited expansion of consciousness. And as you feel this beginning to manifest now, you hear your greater mind say to you, know this, up until this hour, due to the limitations you took upon yourself in your efforts to control the world and the direction of your life, you have thought of yourself as an isolated individual human being, one amongst countless others. But this has never been any more than a thought and belief. Experience now the truth that you are integral to and inseparable from the whole. The body and mind with which you identified is only a small part of your being. The whole universe being your greater self, your greater mind, which is what you truly, truly are. Unconstricted, unshackled, limitless, peak experience manifesting now, healing, forgiveness, acceptance, release. Standing now upon this bridge, the sun itself now rises gloriously into the heavens, dispelling the darkness, illuminating the limitless morning sky, the surrounding land, the bridge on which you are standing, and now, miraculously, you become this entire scene, consciousness expanding so much now that it encapsulates the heavens themselves, unbound, free, magnificent, fully occupying this everlasting present moment, centered now in perfect presence. The passage of time has no meaning here. This moment, forever eternal. Seeing now your true and vast potential is rooted in the world itself, and in seeing this, you see the deeper truth, the wisdom of the ages. Your greater self is the world in which your individual self appears and operates. No longer at war with the world, no longer at war with your greater self, allowing yourself now to be whole, unified, of one untroubled mind. You remember this. You will always remember this. As you are remembering this from a time so very long ago, you bring all of this into the present. You lock this feeling in now. And seeing now what is truly important and what is not. Abandoning all vain self-indulgences, all time-wasting occupation and endeavor, all limiting self-image. Seeing now the unlimited opportunities available when worthless habits and the activities are seen for their utter uselessness, their counterproductive, overly introspective, self-obsessed nature. You abandon them. And disconnecting from all of these is what turns the key, thus bringing about the final unlocking, crossing the bridge, entering now your new life, the deepest peace. And now, having crossed the bridge, having entered this bright new chapter in your life, and since it is not possible to know the future, the coming events and experiences of this your new identity are necessarily unknown. But your self-image, the symbol you keep for yourself, the symbol with which you identify, is in the process of being renewed. Up until today, you have been constricted by beliefs in your own limitations, thus setting the boundaries on what you were able to achieve. But today, having seen and experienced the fact that these limitations were simply states of mind, you have overcome them and are now able to reach and become your true and vast potential. Remaking your self-image anew. You do this now, experiencing this permanent change now. the symbol you keep for your own self has lost its limiting factor of inadequate self-belief, is now unbound. Your symbol for your own self is, of course, limitless, open, aware, integrated with the greater whole, and able now to develop and evolve without constriction, naturally, ably, fully, wonderfully, and having crossed the bridge, the way is now open in front of you. Walk now into this green and pleasant land. Be this glad day, and know that you are one with all things. And now, bringing all of this together, making this permanent, transformed, renewed, enabled, empowered by being unified and set free, you bring all of this back with you. Normal, everyday consciousness now beginning to gradually surface. You take the following words as your own. I am one, I am whole, and my greater mind is all that I experience and know, unlimited, constantly evolving, and I return to full consciousness now. My eyes open and I find myself back in the room. Hello. If you have enjoyed this track, please kindly like, subscribe, and comment. If you can do that, then we will be able to make more of these for you and for others. We're very grateful to you for doing this. Thank you. This track is available for download from CD Baby, iTunes, and Amazon, as well as from our own website, www.hypnosis.scot, where you will find all of our other work.